Most time when people reach out to us trying to buy a property, I have discovered over years of experience that some people do not actually understand most of these terminologies that we use here in the Nigerian real estate sector. Okay, so in this video, I decided to make a comprehensive video to explain 10 most mentioned terminologies or terms that are usually mentioned here in the Nigerian real estate industry. Okay, so if you are coming across this channel for the very first time, meet Benjamin Ali, your #1 real estate lecturer here in Lagos, Nigeria. So in this channel, this is where we discuss everything that has to do with property and investment here in Nigeria. We discuss short let, agricultural land, C of O. We discuss a lot of things: Acre land, sandfield land. Is it safe to buy a sandfield land or a waterfront property? A lot of this discussion, okay? We mention a lot of these properties that are on the market so that you fully understand what you are coming into, or what you are about investing in. All right, without much ado, let us dive straight to the topic of the day. 10 most mentioned property terms here in Nigeria. Okay, so the very first one on the list is the property title. Most time when you intend to buy a land, you hear people asking you, what title does it have? Now, what we mean by property title, this is trying to tell you the current status of the land, all right, and to try to prove ownership of a land. Now, property title are usually gotten from the hands of the government. Okay, so we have titles like excision, we have things like a gazette, we also have a C of O, which is the apex of all of the title. Okay, C of O / a governor's consent. Now, for an excision, this simply means that the portion of land that the government have released to the families, these are the portion of land that the families can go ahead to sell to individuals or to developing companies. Once the excision is released and it is recognized by the government, then you have what we call a gazette. Once something is in a gazette, it means it has been passed, all right? It's recognized by the government. Okay, so that is what it means by excision / gazette. Now, we also have other property titles like a deed of assignment. We have things like a freehold. I discussed that explicitly in my last video. If you can scroll down to our YouTube channel, you can get a full understanding of what a freehold title is. All right, so this document cannot be overemphasized. All of them are so important. We have other property document like receipt. So once you buy a property, you need a receipt, and we also have a survey. All right, so a survey is a property title that tells you, define the portion of land that you own. All right, now these are some of the terms that are commonly used in the Nigerian real estate industry. Another term that is commonly associated with the Nigerian real estate industry is statutory fee. Now, some people call it hidden charges, but actually these charges are not hidden because they always make plain. It's just that some real estate companies do not include them because they discover that once they include them, the price of the property will seem to be very high. Some of these fees can be paid across a very reasonable period of time. Okay, but then the next time you're trying to make that decision, make sure you find out what the hidden charges are, as it were. Okay, now what are these statutory fees meant for? The statutory fees are meant for the development of the estate. For example, if you buy a land, even if it's not an estate, in an environment, let's say in an omolile place, they'll definitely tell you to pay for the road that you want to use, pay for the NEPA, the pole that you want to use, and a lot of stuff like that. But once you buy into a developing company like an estate, this money will be collected and used to tar the road, used for the electricity, drainage system, and a lot of things like that. Okay, so hence the need for this statutory fee. But it is not only used for the development of the estate. There are other statutory fee, like your survey, your contract of sale, okay, like an agreement that you sign. So this fee requires the services of a lawyer or a legal practitioner. Now that is why you need to pay these fees. Okay, so I believe next time, if you are about making that decision, you need to find out what the other charges are before, so that you can have full understanding of the total price or the total package before you can commit an initial deposit. All right, now the third one we are going to discuss here as one of the terms that is commonly used in the Nigerian real estate industry is allocation. Now, allocation is the actual possession of your land. When a real estate company come to show you the portion of land that belongs to you. I always tell people, most companies choose to do the allocation on paper, which I don't feel it is very good. Okay, even if you are not in the country, make sure you get somebody that can represent you so that you can actually identify physically the plot that belongs to you. But let me quickly state here that allocation is always done in batches in most of these real estate companies. But until you pay 100% of the total money that you are supposed to pay for that property, you cannot get your allocation. Okay, so don't say that I've deposited so I need my allocation. No, you have to pay all your fees before you get your physical allocation. But it's important to also note here that sometimes if you are buying, you can always choose your plot, because these companies have the layout. All right, so once there's a layout, you can always request for the layout, and then you pick your plot. After all is done, once the allocation comes up, your physical allocation will take place and you get the actual plot that belongs to you. Okay, so I believe you understand what allocation is, and that next time, don't joke, you have to be physically present or send a representative to recognize your plot. All right, number 4 on the list here is plot. Although plots seem to be very simple and a lot of people feel they understand what plot is, but I can tell you for sure that the term plot differs in the Nigerian real estate sector. A lot of people are selling 600 square meters for a plot, 500 square meters, even some are selling 300 square meters. And so we hear terms like half plot, full plot. So what then is a full plot of land here in Nigeria? It is vital that you understand that there is no standard size here in Nigeria. All right, a plot simply is an arbitrary term used to describe any piece of land. A plot can be used, for multiple purposes, including building of home, for farming activities and all that. So when you are looking for a land to buy, the first question you should ask your real estate agent or your real estate developer is, what is the plot size? It is crucial, because if you are looking at building multiple duplexes, you definitely will want a bigger land. All right, now because there are no standard plot sizes here in Nigeria, I'm going to attempt to answer most of the frequently asked questions about plot sizes. First, a lot of people try to ask, how big is a standard plot of land in Nigeria? Although there is no standard definition, a typical plot of land in Nigeria starts around 100 feet by 100 feet. That's around 30 meter by 30 meter. Okay, so if you do that calculation, you're going to have about 10,000 square feet, all right, which is equal to 900 square meters. In this case, a half plot can be considered to be 50 by 100 feet, all right, which is equal to 15 meter by 30 meter. That will give you about 5,000 square feet. That's approximately 450 square meters. All right, now depending on the state in question, if it's in Lagos, it differs. There can be variation in sizes of plot from around 18 meter by 30 meters, which is approximately 540 square meters, or 18 meters by 36 meters, which will give you 648 square meters. That is applicable in Lagos. So a standard plot size in Lagos is around 648 square meters. That is, in feet, you can say 120 feet by 60. How many plot of land make an acre? Like I said before, an acre is the same as 4,046 about 80 something square meters. All right, now if you take a plot of land to be 900 square meters, then 1 acre will contain about 4.5 plot of land. All right, that will be 4,046.86 meters. All right, then 1 acre will be 4.5 plots. All right, now the next question people frequently ask is, how many plots of land are in an hectare? So if you take 900 square meters to be your standard plot size, then you are going to have about 11.1 plot of land. Well, if you take 648 square meters to be your standard plot size, which is mostly applicable here in Lagos, then you are going to have about 15 plots in an hectare. Okay, so the next question will then be, how do you measure a plot size? It is important for you, whether you are buying or whether you are selling your land, it is important for you to measure the plot size you have. All right, you can do this through a survey plan, but what I recommend is that before buying or selling that land, make sure you carry a surveyor to the plot of land you want to buy, and then they do employee services so that you can actually get the standard plot size you are buying or selling. Do not rely only on the survey plan. Make sure you go physically to measure your plot size. All right, so we are moving right away now to the 5th one. The next property term that is commonly used in Nigeria here is a survey. A survey plan is very important. It's an important document that measures the boundaries of a plot of land or a parcel of land given, and it has to give accurate measurement and description of that land. All right, the people that handle survey issues are surveyors, and they are regulated by the Office of the Surveyor General as it relates to survey issues in Lagos. It is important for me to mention here that a survey must contain the following information. All right. First of all, a survey must contain the name of the owner of the land surveyed. All right. So make sure when you are carrying out your survey, make sure the name of the owner of the land that surveyed is there. All right. Now, a survey must also contain the address of the description of the land surveyed in question here. So you must have the address of the land survey. And the third thing that a survey should contain is the size of the land that has been surveyed. All right. It must contain specific size of the land that has been surveyed. The fifth thing that a survey should have is the beacon numbers. This is very important. A survey should contain a beacon number. And number 6, a survey should also carry the name of the surveyor who drew and mapped out the plan and the date it was mapped out. All right. And finally, this is very crucial, a survey should also contain a stamp showing that the land is either free from government acquisition or not. This is very important. If there's no stamp, that means that survey is either not registered or all right. So it must carry a stamp to show that that land is either free from government acquisition or not. So the next one we're going to discuss now is a deed of assignment. Now, a deed of assignment is an agreement between the seller of a property and the buyer, where the seller signs his right of ownership of that property to the new buyer. All right. It is very important for you to have your deed of assignment. If not, that property transaction is not sealed yet. Here are some of the features you should watch out for in a deed of assignment. The first one is the name of the parties to the agreement. This information must be contained in your deed of assignment. The second information that you should watch out critically for is the address of both parties, the two parties that are signing, both the buyer and the seller. It must be contained in a deed of assignment. All right. The history of the land in question. This is very important. This is where you have a summary of all the transactions. If this land has previously been bought by A, B, C, and maybe you are the D person, D, that is buying that land. So a brief history of that land in question must be contained in a deed of assignment. Another information that should be contained in a deed of assignment is the agreed cost of the land and the willingness of the seller to finally accept that price for the land. Another information that you should also watch out for in a deed of assignment is the description and size of the land to be transferred. This is very important, so that you are not buying a 400 square meter and they are giving you a 200 square meter. You are not buying 1,000 square meters and in the deed of assignment it contains that you are buying a 500 square meter. So make sure that you read your deed of assignment carefully. And I always advise that you should involve the services of a lawyer here, a property lawyer, to help you find out and see some of these terms. These are not the only information that you should watch out for. Another information that you should also be very careful and watch out for is the covenant or promises both parties chooses to undertake. Finally, a lot of people don't watch out for this. It is very important that your deed of assignment should have a section for the governor's consent that must be signed, all right, by the governor or any government official designated by the governor for such purposes in the course of registration of the deed. All right, so this is very crucial. Make sure that you have a section provided where the governor will sign or government official. All right, so that when you are going to register that deed, it will be very easy for you. So these are some of the things that a lot of home buyers do not understand. Another very important term you need to be familiar with in the real estate sector here in Nigeria is coordinate. All right, coordinate. Nigerians abroad, listen to this carefully, especially for those of you who are interested in buying land in Ibejuleki, in Aja, or in Acre, in Ikurudu. You need to listen to this, pay attention and come close and listen to this very carefully. All right. A lot of investors over there are at the mercy of fraudulent real estate agents, all right, dubious developers, and wayo real estate companies, crook or moliles, and dishonest sellers. A lot of so many dishonest activity here. You understand that you have no one to tell you the truth about the genuineness of the land or house because of the distance, all right, because of the distance between you and the property you are interested in. Most of you abroad can only rely on the pictures and videos that these scammers sent to you and word of mouth guaranteeing you that this property is safe and genuine. All right, now, but you may not know that these are all scam. So you have to be very careful. Make sure when you are buying a property, you are familiar or pick the coordinate. And I always say this for free. Take a surveyor there and make sure you pick the coordinate on the ground. Don't rely on the one that have been sent to you. Because if you chart that, what they do, there are quick ways they do this. They pick a coordinate from a property that is genuine and sent to you. So once you chart this out, you will see that it is legit. But meanwhile, that is not the actual coordinate on the ground. Hence, it is very important that you take a surveyor there physically, or you have a real estate agent that you can rely on. Okay, so these are some of the terms that you need to know. Government can forcefully collect the land from the landowners if they deem it fit that this land should be used for public purposes. All right, their process is, I don't want to go too much deep in it. This video is meant to guide you so that you will be protected when the next time you are thinking of making that property decision. All right, as a way of summary, we have talked about title document here in Nigeria. Under that segment, we mentioned excision, deed of assignment, freehold, gazette, certificate of occupancy / governor's consent. All right, we also talk about statutory fee or hidden charges. I told you that next time, make sure you find out what hidden charges are on the property before you make your initial deposit. Also, we mentioned allocation. The point I mentioned there was that make sure you are physically involved in the allocation, or you send your representative to represent you on that allocation. Don't only rely on the allocation that was carried on in a paper, all right, or an audio allocation. All right, so we also talked about different plot sizes here in Nigeria. We talk about that the standard plot size usually in Lagos here, you can see it for about 648 square meters. All right, but that differs. We can also have a plot of land and different plot sizes. Also on that note, we move on to talk about deed of assignment and how important it is in the Nigerian real estate sector. We talk about the survey and that you should always employ the services of a surveyor and what the survey should contain, the important information that should be contained in a survey. We also mentioned a coordinate, that it is important that you pick a coordinate of a property you are interested in. Do not rely on the pictures or the coordinate that was sent to you. Make sure that you take a surveyor there to pick the actual coordinate on the property. And we also discuss government acquisition. All right, we say this is very important so that you don't go and fall victim. Any land that is committed is a no-go area. And then finally, we discuss dry or wetland. And the important point we mentioned here was that find out if the property is a dry land or swampy land, all right, so that you don't spend much money trying to sandfill your property or doing piling. Okay, so I remain your #1 real estate consultant here in Lagos. They call me the property lecturer because I have helped Nigerians here in Nigeria and Nigerians in the diaspora secure genuine property here in Lagos. Thank you once again for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to this channel.